Einstein said, he talked about when an unstoppable object meets an immovable force. Unstoppable quintessentially means it cannot be stopped. I mean, literally, it's impossible. And I want to show you all, God is an unstoppable force. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when people discuss God, they talk about big man upstairs, or, God's up there. And I told you how God is immanent, but God's unlimitedly powerful. But we don't see. The reason people don't see God move is because they don't invite him to move. Jesus is always knocking on your door, but he will never kick your door down because Jesus is polite. He isn't going to barge in your house and tie you up. He is going to knock on your door and wait for you to answer. And if you don't answer, he won't come in. Now, that's between you and him. But whenever we invite God to move in our lives, he does powerful things. How many of you here believe that God will heal people? Yeah. I've witnessed it. I've seen people who were completely blind. And they would go up and then they get healed by Jesus. It's not us. I can't heal the blind. I know you sure can't. I know that people can't just get cured of things like that in a split second. Oh, and people, they're faking it. They're fake. You can't fake being blind your whole life that everyone can attest to, and then you just are able to see all of a sudden, and everyone can say, whoa, this dude was blind his entire life. You don't fake stuff like that. People will question how canon the Bible is because it all relies on eyewitnesses. How do we gain proof of anything? Eyewitnesses. I mean, over 1,000 people were able to witness and attest to Jesus' miracles he performed. Over 500 eyewitnesses saw him resurrected after he died. Now, in any other circle of our life, we would say that is unimpeachable evidence that Christ came back from the dead. What does unimpeachable mean? It means you cannot deny and get rid of it. Paul said that if Jesus Christ didn't resurrect from the grave, we're all idiots. And the Christians, we're the dumbest ones of them all. Now, I have a question for you. If you told a lie in your school, and they said, you better admit to it. You said, I'm not going to admit to my lie. And they pulled out a whip and started beating you with it. I bet you money you would probably cave in and say, I lied. What if they hit you 30-something times with it? What if people stoned you in the streets for it? Would you say, I lied, guys. It wasn't true. Would you say, okay, it was all fake. Okay, I give up. The word is apostatize. Would you deny your faith? Would you deny the lie you were claiming if really your life was on the line, if it was just a lie? Would you? I'm just saying, imagine you were told this lie. You said something like, oh, I didn't steal that man's candy. Well, they pull out a whip and start beating you and say, you better admit it. The only way you would actually admit it is if you were lying. I mean, if I told the truth, why would I admit it? Because I was telling the truth. The apostles, every one of the apostles, minus one, was martyred. You know what that means? It means they were killed. They were tortured and killed. Peter was crucified upside down. And they tried to get him to say, God's not real. He never said it. He said, no, Jesus is real. I can't lie. They threw John in a vat of boiling oil. But he never said Jesus isn't real. John survived, and he was banished to an island. He was the one apostle who wasn't martyred. He actually died of old age. Yeah, W. John, I know, right? No, Paul the apostle, we forget what Paul went through. Paul was bitten by a snake. He didn't die, miraculously poisoned snake. He was transported, when they arrested him and took him to Rome, he was in the Middle Eastern area. He had to get on a boat for a year or so and travel all the way up around the Mediterranean. He got shipwrecked, all this stuff. He spent at least a year or two in prison. That's where he wrote much of the Bible. They tortured him. They beat him. They stoned him. He didn't deny that because it's the power of God. You wouldn't deny something if you knew it to be true.